I am the emperor of mankind. You believe you understand what the Webway was. You think it a transport system, a convenience, a shortcut to support my armies, to connect my worlds, to outpace the warp storms that tear your ships from the void and scatter them into unreality. You are wrong. That was never the purpose. The Webway project was not built for war. It was built to end war, not with peace, but with isolation. I was not seeking a road. I was building a wall. The warp is not a place. It is not a realm. It is not a space you cross. It is pressure. It is thought, unbound by form. It is a sea of meaning, instinct, and hunger, woven from every soul that has ever lived, and every monster that never needed to. It is alive, in the way rot is alive. It feeds, and it adapts. Humanity was born beneath its shadow. Every sentient species that has ever lifted its head has heard its whisper, and most have been consumed by it. The old ones thought they could master it. The Eldari believed they could dance upon its tides without drowning. Even now, the weak and the desperate call upon it for strength, and call that strength divine. They are all wrong. You do not use the warp. The warp uses you. I have never feared chaos. That is not why I sealed myself away. I understand it too well to fear it. Fear is the province of those who hope. I do not hope. I calculate. Chaos is not evil. It is not order's opposite. It is momentum, guided by sentience. A reflection, sharpened into predators. And the only way to defeat it, truly defeat it, was not to fight it in its own realm, but to make it irrelevant. That was the Webway's purpose. A sealed system, stable, inert, untouched by the warp. A realm carved from the void and threaded through ancient bones, stretching from Sol to the edge of the galaxy. A gate that led not into madness, but into silence. It was never about faster travel, it was about closed travel, unseen by demons, unreachable by corruption. A road that did not bleed every time it was walked upon. Imagine it, a human realm, entire and sufficient. No Geller fields, no astropaths screaming into the void, no navigators born, crippled by mutation, no chaos, not purged, not defeated, excluded, irrelevant to our existence. And without the warp's leash, mankind would have become more than a species. It would have become a force, a system so stable, so isolated, so pure, that nothing within the Imperium could reach us again. I was not trying to claim the galaxy. I was trying to seal it. I had already built the body. The unification wars had ended. Terra was mine. The Mechanicum was bound. The Great Crusade was expanding. The Astartes were crushing resistance. My sons, still loyal, still whole, were carrying out my will with fire and blade. But it was all scaffolding. Necessary, but temporary. The crusade was never the goal. It was the distraction, the shield under which the real work could begin. Beneath Terra, in the vaults of the Imperial dungeon, I opened the breach. A fracture into the Eldari Webway, repurposed for humanity's future. I did not rely on Xenos relics. I reforged it, thread by thread, in our image. I designed the throne not as a seat, but as a seal. A psychic engine, linked to my mind, capable of anchoring the breach, keeping the Imperium at bay while I built the last wall mankind would ever need. And it worked. Until it didn't. The failure came from within. Magnus. He was not corrupted then. Not fully, but he was arrogant. He believed he could warn me, that his power justified defiance, and so to reach me, he tore open the veil I had held closed with everything I am. The warp surged through the breach. Demons flooded the Webway. My work, the work that would have saved everything, was infected, not destroyed but compromised, beyond salvage, beyond safety. You cannot seal a wound once it's been poisoned. You can only amputate or die. So I chose amputation. I turned away from the crusade. I sealed the vaults. I let my suns rage across the stars while I fought a war of containment beneath my own palace. You do not understand the scale of that war. You cannot. Entire hosts of custodians died in silence. Tech priests burned their minds out simply trying to stabilize what Magnus had shattered. I sacrificed relics older than your species just to buy seconds. And Malkador, he held everything together when even I could not. He did not flinch, he did not falter, and in the end he died to hold the line long enough for me to take his place. The Webway gate was sealed. The throne became a prison, and I was entombed inside it, not as ruler, not as God, as Locke. That is the truth of what you call the Golden Throne. It is not a symbol. It is not a relic. It is the last door I could not close. Bolted shut with the last of my strength. I did not choose this. It was the only way left to prevent total collapse. Without me here, bound to this machine, Terra would be a demon world. The Imperium would be ash. So I remain, a warning, a wall, a weapon that can no longer move, only endure. And I will endure, because I must. But you must understand what was lost. Had the Webway been completed, the Imperium would have become post-warp. There would be no need for astropaths, no corruption of navigators, no black ships, no soul tithes, no flesh sacrifices. The warp would have become a background hum. No longer a threat, no longer a necessity. You would not be ruled by fear. You would not live by superstition. You would not worship me, because you would not need me. That was the point. They say I was a tyrant. Yes, because I had to be. They say I was a liar. Yes, because the truth would have destroyed you before it could save you. They say I wanted to enslave mankind. Number, I wanted to free you from slavery to powers you didn't even know controlled you. From the need to pray to your own nightmares just to survive another year. From the slow entropy that gnaws at every empire touched by the warp. From the whispers that eat thought and leave only doctrine behind. I wanted to unhook your mind from the dark. The Webway would have done that. And now it never will. I see what you've become. I do not hate you, but I no longer recognize you. You live inside a wound. You decorate your chains and call it pride. You venerate suffering because it's all you have left to believe in. You burn psychers by the thousand because you fear what they might show you. You tithe your sons to wars without end because you no longer know how to define victory. You speak my name as if it grants you virtue. It does not. There is no divinity in me, only purpose, and that purpose has not changed. If I rise again, if the throne fails or breaks or releases me, I will not come as a god. I will come as the architect of a second chance, one that will not be wasted. You ask, what would I do differently? Everything. I would purge more deeply. I would trust fewer. I would speak less. And I would finish the wall before letting anyone else touch the plan. I gave you vision once. You turned it into ritual. Next time, there will be no misunderstanding. That was the Webway project. Not a tunnel, not a gate, a weapon against necessity itself, a system so complete, so clean that it would have made chaos irrelevant by design. No worship, no heresy, no corruption, just isolation. Humanity alone, strong, sane, free. That was the vision. And now it is the loss that defines your age. I do not speak these words to mourn. I do not mourn. I speak them so you understand what was taken from you and what I will reclaim if I rise again. Because I will not save this Imperium. I will replace it. And the next time I build, there will be no cracks left to breach, no suns left to betray me, and no gates left open, only the wall and silence, eternal, on the other side.